What is happening, everybody? How we doing? Um, Lauren Elizabeth, how's it going? Dawn Marie, Bang Bang Kiss Kiss 007, Hope Addis, Tax Girl. What is happening, everybody? And I got an echo, my bad. Give me 1 second here. Yeah, man. It's been a minute since since we talked about this, but there is a new development in this case. Before I get started, I will let the room fill up just a little bit first. Yeah, we've been doing, we've been doing some fun stuff. We even got a little political there for a little while. We probably will still do that depending on any developments going on as far as that goes moving forward. But as you guys know, I have been talking about, well, some of you, a lot of you know that I talked about this case, the Gannon Stauch case, quite a bit when it first broke, and it was it's definitely something that really hit home to me. I don't usually get real personally invested. Hey, Dawn Marie and Fake Teddy, how we doing? I don't usually get real personally invested in these cases, but something about little Gannon, man, that just it really hit home, and it really got under my skin. And yeah, and I think we're all who's been following this case. I think all of us have been pretty irritated with the way that Leticia has been carrying herself during the investigation. We've been really I mean, she's something else, man. I don't like to I'm definitely not the type to jump on a pitchfork and torches bandwagon, and I speak against that quite a bit. But I'm definitely, moving forward and where we're at in this case now, and everything that has taken place. I don't like that she is just everything that she's been doing sucks. It's really the only way I could put it. Hey, Raging Night Wolf, what's up, Caleb? How you doing, bud? Hey, Susie Pops, Z Hounds. Definitely good vibes, man. We'll do the best we can here. Bebop, how's it going? Raging Night Wolf, you have the coolest YouTube handle I've ever heard. I love that. I'm the kind of guy that likes bands of similar names. I dig bands like that. But yeah, this is something that this case is just something that really gets under my skin, and I think a lot of people feel the same way. Now, Caleb here saying, let's see what Caleb says. I don't think Leticia is faking it. She is a violent nut job, but it takes very little to be deemed sane by the court, so this won't hold. She'll stand trial. I'm gonna have to agree with you there. We're gonna explore this. Doodle, what's up? How I've missed Doodle. Hold on a second here. Here we go. Doodle, you are wrenched. Bill Jones. Oh, okay. So both you and Bang Bang are in Tennessee. That's awesome. I think 1 Hour Drive Floors is in Tennessee as well. But yeah, this is definitely a Tennessee shirt. I've lived here for a little over a year and a half. And I've grown to truly love this place. So it's beautiful. The Smoky Mountains are beautiful. And speaking of which, before I continue with the Leticia Stauch thing, I have a good friend. His name is Sean McGavick. Way back when, before StreamYard, before I was real comfortable doing everything, I covered a case that he was directly involved in. His adoptive mother and her husband. They are a real pair of shitbags who perpetrated what do you call it? Stolen valor, murder, and it's something, man. Stolen valor is really something that really gets to me, man. I can't stand that shit because I really love our veterans, and I'm grateful for our veterans, and anybody who puts on a uniform, picks up a weapon, stands a post, and fights for our freedoms has my respect 150%, man or woman. So plain and simple, that's how I feel about it. And when someone minimizes that by trying to take credit for things that they didn't do, when there are people who actually died, they put their lives on the line and gave their lives. Hey, German lady, I don't take kindly to that at all. And they murdered Sean's stepdad, tried to make it look like a suicide, and actually got away with it for about 5 years. And I interviewed Sean here on this channel a while back, but we're going to revisit that. There's on August 1st, there is going to be an episode on something. I think it's on the Oxygen channel. I don't really watch the Oxygen channel, but I'm sure a lot of you do. I think it's called what is the name of that show? Suicide, overdose or murder. I think that's what it's called. Hey, 1 Hour Drive Floors. And actually 1 Hour Drive Floors, she emailed me. She actually knows my friend Sean, and I spoke with him today. He actually dropped me off just a little while ago, and he is he did a show, that show, I guess it's called Suicide, Overdose or Murder, something like that. Not in that order, I don't think, but it's on the Oxygen channel. The episode regarding the case that he was involved in will air on Oxygen on August 1st. I'm not sure what time. And the Dateline episode will be re-airing with, I think, 6 new minutes added to it, because she actually filed for an appeal. His adoptive mother filed for an appeal. And yes, I did tell him you said hi. 1 Hour Drive Floors. He told me that he had known he's known your husband since kindergarten. And I think something about your best friend was once his girlfriend or something like that. So yeah, like as you said in your email, small world, pretty crazy. But he is I'm going to have him back on this channel at some point, somewhere around that time. We're going to set something up, me and him, And for those of you who are not familiar with the case, you can familiarize yourself with the case on August 1st on that show that I just mentioned on Oxygen. And we're going to, and then I'm going to talk to him. And I don't know exactly when the Dateline is going to re-air. He doesn't have a date on that. But I'm going to check. But so so I will be, I'll keep you guys posted as far as that goes. Hey Mignon, what's up? So Leticia Stauch. Okay, so the deal with Leticia Stauch, apparently the prosecution requested a bunch of subpoenas from the judge to obtain her mental health records, her past mental health records. And Judge Werner did not approve these subpoenas, but he did order the prosecution to issue a new subpoena for Leticia's mental health records to the jail where she's at currently being held. And Friday there was a hearing that determined that she will be transported either this week or next week to the Pueblo State Hospital, where they're going to conduct a mental health evaluation to determine whether or not she is competent to stand trial. And I think we all saw this coming. She's going to try to weasel out of as much as she can. You know, I think we're to a point where it's pretty safe to probably assume that she's going to plead not guilty if she can. She's going to try to plead not guilty, I think, or she is going to plead not guilty. I think so. And so there's probably going to be a trial, and I'm not happy about that. I'm not happy about that because I'd like to see her just simply own up to what she's done and plead guilty and just do the time that she deserves for what she did to Gannon. And you know, we still don't know the details exactly of what happened to Gannon, but Gannon, from what we understand, he was apparently shot, stabbed, and bludgeoned. And how you can do this to an 11-year-old boy tells me that there's a lot of hatred there. And this is definitely a very hateful person. So she was arrested in March for suspicion of first-degree murder. And I guess they're going to go back to court, according to this article, in 21 days to confirm that she's been taken to the hospital for her evaluation. It says here. Or no, a review is expected in 21 days. So I guess I don't know exactly what that means, but I know that her next court appearance is set for September 8th. September 8th, when the judge will review the conclusion of her competency evaluation. I don't want to see this woman end up in a cushy mental institution for what she's done, because I do believe, hey, Save Robbie, what's up, bud? I do believe her to be mentally unstable, absolutely. But I do believe her to be competent enough to know what her actions were, and she was competent enough to try to hide it. She was competent enough to try to get away with it. She was competent enough to lie about it. And so I don't see how this is going to fly very much. To me, it just seems like a whole bunch of stalling. That's what it seems like to me. Just stalling towards the inevitable. But what we're going to do like we go over the Karen videos and break those down, with everything that we know about Leticia so far, with the way that she's behaved and everything that she's done so far. We're also going to watch that initial interview that she held with her back turned. We're going to go over that. We're going to watch that and break that down again. But I am personally right now, I am of the opinion that she knows exactly what she did. She knows exactly what the consequences would be if she was caught. And she knew exactly what the severity of her crimes were. All of the behavior that she exhibited on social media prior to her arrest, once she was arrested, having being transported from, I think it was it South Carolina or North Carolina? I can't really remember, but being transported back to Colorado, she attacked a deputy. And again, still, we do not know. Hey, Wicked Witch, what's up? Hey, Joan Brown. We still don't know the extent of that deputy's injuries, but that deputy was hospitalized. We don't know what happened to that deputy at all. But it was definitely an escape attempt. And on top of that, she even tried to plot an escape attempt. And one of her fellow inmates in the jail ratted her out because she was trying to plot with them some sort of escape. So she's definitely afraid of going to prison. She knows what she did. She knows exactly the severity of her crime. And this is one of those very few cases at this point, guys. And I want to be very clear about this. When all this was going on, there was a lot of emotions going on, and I was really, I was very emotional about this case from the start. And one of the things that really got to me was people just crucifying this woman before knowing any of these facts, and her being as shifty as she clearly is. I was deathly afraid of her trying to claim that she had no chance of standing a fair trial, of getting a fair trial, by being totally by being found guilty in the court of public opinion already. People, basically calling for her head. And that's just irresponsible. And YouTube creators doing this and perpetuating this and creating a narrative of this, it's irresponsible because we don't want to give a person like this any fuel to try to weasel out of answering for her crimes. So we have to be very careful about that, people. We have to be very, very careful that we do not, screw up an investigation, and screw up the prosecution's methods of putting this woman away. These are civil servants that work for us right now. And on top of that, I mean, look at, for those of you out there that are listening that actually think that it's a good idea to defund the police and abolish the police, and you've been following this case, and you're one of those same people that have been calling for this woman's head on a platter. I mean, come on, people. We need the police. We need the police to conduct thorough investigations. The police's job in cases like this, their job is to collect evidence for the prosecution so that they can thoroughly put her away and make sure that she does not get out. How we doing, Bebop? Thank you. I appreciate that. We have to allow the system to work properly. And by being just completely irresponsible and just, for the sake of getting a lot of views and gaining more subscribers, it's a slippery slope, man. And people don't realize that it's not This isn't a game. This isn't some TV show, man. This is a family out there that deserves justice for what happened to this poor little boy. It just is it just is that way. It just is. So we have to be very careful about this, guys. We have a great platform here where we can talk about these cases, and for those true crime channels out there that think that you're going to somehow break the case. You're not. It's not your job to do that. You got to leave that to the professionals, to the trained professionals. It's not our job to do that. But we can talk about it. We can talk about it. Absolutely. And that's what we're here to do. But when it comes to reckless speculation and things of that nature, I mean, that can genuinely actually damage the chances of this family getting justice, people. And it's irresponsible to not keep that in mind. But I won't harp on that for too long. I just wanted to make sure. Yeah, absolutely. Patience is a good thing. You look at George Floyd. Everything went crazy with the George Floyd case because everybody was like, arrest these men. But, we saw a murder. We saw a murder take place. We saw the evidence. So right there, automatically, it makes people go, what's taking you so long to arrest these people? You have the evidence right there. But it takes time to solidify a case that you can take to court. We knew he was going to get it. We knew these officers were going to get arrested, but you have to let the system do their job. With all the publicity that case was getting, with all of the public outrage that was happening, there was no way that they were not going to be diligent. And they were. But it just didn't happen fast enough for people. And then they threw a fit. And then they started looting and rioting. And then the entire point just went out the window, guys. And now you're not going to tell me any of this is about George Floyd. You're just not going to convince me of that, And it's just because people don't have enough sense to simply let the system work. Let the professionals do their jobs. We're not professionals. We're just people talking about this. Know your role. Know your role. I'm just the guy up here talking about this. You all are just people in my chat contributing to the conversation. That's what we are. We're just concerned citizens. We're not heroes, man. It's not our job to be heroes. You're not gonna you're not gonna break a case on YouTube. I mean, it has happened. And it could happen, but at the you're attempting this at the cost of what? At the risk of what cost? That this person could actually go free under the argument that they're incapable of receiving a fair trial. But that's not going to be the case this time. Thank goodness. It's not going to be the case this time. Thank goodness. So, Yeah, that's absolutely true, Caleb. I agree with you. Bang, bang, kiss, kiss 007. I agree with you 100%. Why risk the justice? And for what? So you can get more subs? So you can get more views? I mean, come on, man. Come on, man. Do it the old-fashioned way, Some decent content, That's it. I don't know, but that's just my opinion. But anyway. So, Leticia, I'm completely and totally of the opinion that she knew exactly when people are evaluated, to see whether they're competent to stand trial. It's not a question of whether or not they're crazy. Okay, they could be crazy. They could have some serious mental health disorder, sure. But just because they've been diagnosed with a serious mental health disorder does not necessarily dictate that they are incompetent to stand trial. So she could have all these disorders and get diagnosed with them, but that doesn't necessarily mean that she is incapable of understanding what her actions were, that she is incapable of understanding what the consequences are for her actions. So I don't think this is going to fly. Look at everything that she's done. Look at everything that she's done. So I definitely, and again, at this point, you guys know me. I'm big on innocent until proven guilty. I just am. But in this particular case, there's enough to tell us that it's safe to think that she's definitely guilty. There's, you don't attack a deputy and put him in the hospital if you're not. If you got nothing to hide, you know what I'm saying? You don't. That doesn't happen. And let's see what Caleb says here. Not guilty by reason of insanity. She has to know right from wrong at the time of her actions to be deemed sane. Right. The jury makes the decision, not the court. And that right there, Caleb, that tells me, brother, that tells me that she is, let's see what you said prior to this. Hold on. That right there tells me that she knew right from wrong, or else she wouldn't have tried to escape twice. She wouldn't have lied. So let's go over this video again. We watched this video on this channel before. Yeah, she's not very smart. She thinks she's smart, but she's not very smart. And all of the lies that she told, man, all of the lies. You don't lie the way that she did if you don't understand the magnitude of your actions. You just don't. So Caleb said, competent to stand trial. She only needs to understand the proceedings taking place to assist her attorneys in her defense. Mock courtrooms and psych wards so they learn where DA and defense tables are. Huh. I did not know that that's how that takes place. That's very, very interesting. So she only needs to understand how it's going to take place. So I think she does. I think she does. Hold on. All right. So we're going to go over this video, guys.
I am Tisha Stauch, which is Gannon's stepmother.
You've been a part of the investigation since the very first time. You were the last person to see him. Is that right?
Correct.
What did you see when you last saw him?
Well, I'm not allowed to talk about anything with the case. I would more so be willing to talk about how the community needs to have faith and continue to work together and not make these false accusations like the thing.
Now, what does that tell everybody right there? When she right there says, I'm not allowed to talk about anything regarding the case, right? When she says that, does that give you the indication that she understands what's going on? Because it definitely does to me. It definitely does me. I definitely get the vibe that she knows exactly what the hell's going on. Let's see. Danette Costa. Welcome. How we doing? Chiming in real quick. That's exactly right. She wouldn't have tried to hide the crime if insanity was at play. Hope everyone is well. Caleb is right. It's about if she can stand trial. Thank you for that, Danette Costa. Appreciate that. And Mignon, yeah, I agree with you. She's a lying piece of shit. And yes, Joan, she's thinking of herself only. Absolutely. And this definitely indicates this interview. We went over this before when this first happened. So we're going to do it again now. And the reason why we're doing it again now, as I said before, for those of you just joining, we're going to go over this again now after knowing everything that we know has taken place since this video.
Things that have been said, that I've disappeared from the community. I haven't been there to help, but there's lots of reasons behind that.
Reasons like death threats, right?
Right. Death threats are one of them. My family's getting lots of death threats. We counted over 20 some death threats already. Two, my husband's ex-wife is living in our home. And of course, I'm not coming home to do these things and to help with the family when I was kind of like told I couldn't. And then many other things that happened with the El Paso County Police Department, you know, and in doing the investigation, I was told I wasn't complying. And can I elaborate on that?
Please do.
Yes. So I asked for an attorney during the interview, and I was denied that by them. I was held because they were blocking the door, and I was told I couldn't leave, and that if I would have touched them, they would have probably, you know, said I still wasn't complying, or said I was, you know, trying to run away or something. But
what a crock of shit. But we all know that's total bullshit because we read that first affidavit, right? We all know what took place there, at least according to the police. And as far as I know, I mean, it's one word against another, but the fact of the matter is it's her word against law enforcement, and law enforcement already has more credibility with me than she does because she has lied and lied and lied. So yeah, she right there, when she sits there and she's saying these things, I believe this is a calculated attempt. I think she's already thinking about court. I think she's already thinking about a trial. I'm getting that feeling that she is already thinking about the trial. When she's sitting there and she's in an interview, she's trying to get it on public record in her own way that she was denied her rights. I mean, does anybody disagree with me on that? I think that she is being extremely calculated right here in the sense that she's already thinking at some point, I'm probably going to get caught. And when I get caught, I'm not going to plead guilty. I'm going to go to trial because I get to have all this attention when it happens and I get to plead my case. And when that happens, I'm going to be able to say, I even said it back then. The police tried to deny me my rights. So in her sick way, she thinks that this is somehow evidence proving that she was denied her rights, but it's not in any way, shape, or form. What it is her on television bitching.
during the interview, I asked several times, could I stop the interview? Could I get an attorney? Could I stop the interview? Could I get an attorney? I was denied. I was told I couldn't get nothing to drink. I couldn't go to the bathroom. I mean, it was continuously that my constitutional rights were violated.
And that's why you say that they said then you weren't cooperating with the investigation.
That's why they said I wasn't cooperating at that time. Correct.
And why did you ask for an attorney at the time?
Well, I asked for an attorney at the time because there was one individual, there was two really good detectives, and so I'm not, going to talk bad about detectives, but the tactics they started to get when I would answer questions, they try to, they're detectives, they're supposed to twist. The one main goal is to find Gannon. But during that time, some of those things made me feel uncomfortable the way they were saying things. So I immediately stopped and felt like an attorney would help me with some of the vocabulary and things like that I needed help with and understanding some of the things that they were asking.
I'm going to shift gears to what has become a huge online presence of people obviously trying to do the right thing, help find Gannon. But at the same time, sometimes it just feels like rumor mongering. Have you seen any of those comments yourself?
We have. And see, that's one of the main things we haven't been around in the public eye because I didn't want to expose my family to it if all these.
Let's talk about her tone right now. Let's talk about her pronunciation. Let's talk about how she's carrying herself overall in this interview. She is making a very, very conscious effort, in my opinion, to sound competent. She's making a conscious effort right now to sound intelligent. She's making a conscious effort right now to come off as, I mean, what she's trying to do is she's trying to convince the public to not see her the way that she truly is, the way that we all are already seeing her. And by doing this, she's making herself seem even more guilty, in my personal opinion. Because even back then, I remember I was going off about other YouTube channels behaving irresponsibly regarding this case. I remember this vividly, and it made virtual almost enemies with people. But even still, because I was shouting innocent until proven guilty at the time, I was still saying this woman is behaving like an asshole. She is not focused on, because you got to remember, people, this is when Gannon was still missing. Nobody knew what was going on. Everybody was speculating and trying to figure out what was happening with Gannon when this interview took place. So we were all just kind of like, you know, what's going on, who's responsible, and everybody was pointing their fingers at her. But, you know, it's still pretty understandable as to why that took place, because of her behavior. She was not interested, or she was not showing at least any interest at the time of finding Gannon. She didn't care. You know, we all believe she's guilty. So, you know, at the time, she seemed to simply be looking at, I mean, the way that I'm seeing it now, after Gannon has already been, his body's been discovered, everything that we know today, we know everything as far as the affidavit, all the things that took place. It makes me understand, because at the time when we were breaking this down, I was sitting here going, man, you know, she doesn't seem to be interested in finding Gannon at all. She seems to be interested in how the public sees her. Which is obviously right. But now, especially now that she is trying to say that she's sick and she may not be able to stand trial, then this tells me that she was very calculated in what she was doing, like I had just said earlier. But on top of that, it's not just the fact that she wasn't interested in finding Gannon. I'm seeing someone that is trying to, I see the motive for her not talking about finding Gannon. I see that motive to be more along the lines of, he's gone. Let's move past that. Let's talk about how I'm being mistreated. Forget Gannon. He's gone, you know? But she can't say that, because it'll obviously make her look very, very guilty. But she's bursting at the seams to say that. She's bursting at the seams to go, you know, why are people still talking about Gannon? He's fucking dead. You know, I'm here right now and I'm being persecuted by the public. You know, the focus should be on me, and why is the public giving me a hard time? Death threats, blah, blah, blah.
These things were going on. You know, there was comments about Gannon getting pushed off the hike, and there was comments about this, and that's just not true. I took care of Gannon for the last 2 years in our home because his mother didn't want to do it. And I would never, ever hurt this child. And I know there's some questions out there about, okay, so tell me what happens. That's up to the investigations when they end up letting you guys know. But I've cooperated with them, even to the point that we were held with a gun, and my daughter, a 17-year-old who serves our country in the United States Air Force, who has never committed a crime or done anything wrong in her life, was put in handcuffs over the keys that was in her purse. So they,
I mean, look at that. You know, I mean, and we've talked about that before too, the way she talks about her daughter serving in the military. I mean, I think the only thing that she can do at her age, she was 17 at the time. The only thing she could do is ROTC, I believe. I mean, that's not necessarily serving. She's not exactly a soldier, you know, so right there, she's exaggerating to get sympathy. So yeah, I mean, this is a woman who just continues to lie and lie and lie. And that indicates to me that she knows exactly the magnitude of her actions.
They could take her car.
And they weren't in there.
They weren't even in her car. I mean, in her purse.
And
they were in my pocket.
You originally didn't even know it was the law enforcement officer?
I didn't know it was a law enforcement officer because when he came out, I guess he was putting his jacket on, and it wasn't necessarily his fault. He was adjusting and happened to catch me. But I saw the gun and I panicked originally and kind of thought, oh gosh, I got to, like, who's this guy? And then once I realized it was a sheriff's office, I was totally okay, but they still had a gun and told me they were going to shoot me. But I was really concerned about my daughter, asking why she was being detained in handcuffs and things like that, when that shouldn't even happen for a child. That shouldn't happen for someone who was standing inside of a store shopping, because we couldn't have any clothes because all of our clothes were here. If we came here and got clothes, you know, we would be harassed. So she went to purchase some underwear and things like that and was put in the handcuffs in the store, you know, and then brought out with men with guns. And that's just not okay. You know, they could have approached me and said, hi, I'm with El Paso County. Can I please get this? Instead of the way that it happened.
I'm just going to check your chat. Doing great. Well, make sure that we're still good on recording. Still can hear you okay. Okay, yeah, sounds like we're good. Every once in a while my mic will get out, and I want to make sure it's not going to happen here.
And I love how the cameraman, because I mean, we talked about this when we broke down this interview, you know, months ago. When we broke down this interview months ago, we talked about how the interview seems to just know that she's full of shit. And he wants to keep her talking. He wants to get something to where she trips up. It's pretty interesting. And so when the interview, when the guy conducting the interview goes off camera, you notice that the camera guy actually zooms in on her a little bit. They are dead set and focused on getting something on this woman. You know, it's pretty interesting.
Okay. I should try and clarify here. Not necessarily crime rates, but the way that people are reacting online to rumors about you with the story.
Oh yes. Wow. The rumors have gotten so bad. I pretty much have been told at least 10 different ways that these people have these conspiracy theories. I guess they watch a lot of law shows and maybe they have all these theories on how Gannon is dead. And that's what they're saying. So I'm like, why?
And she's got the public totally figured out. You know, she's got everybody figured out. I mean, does this sound like a crazy person to you? Because it doesn't sound like a crazy person to me. I'm sticking with my original diagnoses. I like to say it like that. I'm sticking to my original diagnoses that this is just an asshole. Leticia Stauch is an asshole. And whether she's guilty of the crime or not, she is an asshole. She's not in any way, shape, or form here in this interview concerned with the whereabouts of Gannon at all. She is merely concerned with how the public views her. And here we go with the rumors. Oh my God. I mean, she's watching her language. She knows she's on television. She's watching her language. Now, for those of you that were in chat last night, you remember the Karen video that I shared, courtesy of Misery. Shout out to Misery, by the way. And thank you for providing us with those videos. That this was a woman who was actually filming herself. She had the phone. It was her phone and it was her recording, and she had the phone camera pointed at the police officers. But this was a woman who was screaming and yelling and cursing and insulting, being completely and totally irrational. That is a sick woman. That is somebody that I would question whether or not she is competent to stand trial. And even still, I mean, who knows? But you know, I'm not a mental health professional. You know, I'm not an attorney. But I'm thinking that when you compare the two, we're talking about a woman who was probably just violent in her house, and she was probably abusive when I'm talking about the woman we were talking about last night. We're talking about somebody who is probably very, very abusive, and probably abusive to everyone that she knows, considering how she was speaking to the police officers, considering that she wasn't even allowed back in that house. She was screaming, yelling, and cursing. She was totally carrying on and acting completely crazy. She was acting like a crazy person, period. But we're seeing the exact opposite of a person on camera. We're seeing the exact opposite. Now, Karen last night, her intention was for the video to go viral because she said it numerous times that this is going to go viral, douchebags, blah, blah, blah. Right? Her intention was that everyone was going to see it. She had the delusions of grandeur that everyone, now, does Leticia seem to have symptoms of someone with delusions of grandeur? Sure. Again, I'm not a mental health professional, but she seems to clearly have delusions of grandeur as well. But she is completely and totally composed here. We're talking about somebody who allegedly murdered an 11-year-old boy in the most violent way that you could possibly think of, short of sexual abuse, short of sexual assault, but violent in every other possible way. And yet she's completely and totally calm here. She's completely and totally composed. And the reason why she's completely and totally composed, and the reason why she's completely and totally chill and behaving relaxed, is because she wants to put on a front. She wants to put on a front of someone who cannot be capable of committing such a horrible crime. That is someone who knows exactly what they're doing. That is someone who not only knows what they're doing, but they also know what they did. And they also know what can happen to them for doing it.
Why are you saying Gannon is dead? He is not dead. We are going to find Gannon. And that's the main goal that we all have. My family has. Just because you haven't seen us, we have that same goal. We've been out searching. My aunt has been out searching. My family has been out searching. We all have been doing that together so that we can protect each other.
How does it feel when not only you have...
What does that mean? My family's been out searching. I've been out searching. Everybody's been out searching. And so that we can protect each other. Let's hear that one more time. What do you make of that?
Doing that together so that we can protect each other.
So that we can protect each other.
We have that same goal.
We're all doing this together so that we can protect each other. I suppose that could be argued. That, they're all one family and they care about each other. And they want, they all want closure for the other, but I don't believe that's what she meant by that. I don't believe I believe that was a slip of the tongue that made her look guilty.
Oh, we've been out searching. My aunt has been out searching. My family has been out searching. We all have been doing that together so that we can protect each other.
How does it feel?
So that we can protect each other. Do you think that she was kind of subliminally trying to put a little subliminal message there to her family to not attack her and stop looking at her as if she had something to do with Gannon's disappearance?
When not only you have a lost child who you are in care of, but then people blaming you for that child not being there.
I'm just ready for Gannon to come home. Most importantly, for him to see his family. But second, I am going to be so ecstatic when I'm able to say to people that I hope they have a really sincere apology for all these theories that have came out online, for all the things they said that I have done or people have done.
I mean, she's going to be ecstatic when she has proven everyone wrong. She's going to be ecstatic about that.
And I just want everyone to know that we're going to find Gannon, and I love him so much. I've helped taking care of him for so long.
Can you talk to me a little bit about him? I don't know him.
Gannon is so kind, and he loves to play video games. That's one of his favorite things. He loves Sonic and Mario, and he's always helpful. And he was always so helpful with the dogs around the house, and we have 2 little cute dogs. And he was always like a person I could say, Gannon, can you go do this? And he would do it right away. Sometimes with kids we have to remind them and things like that, and that's okay. But he was so sweet and able to help anyone. He could notice when you're sick and say, "Are you okay?" And such a kind heart.
I know you just said that you can't say anything about the investigation, so you can just say so again if you can't answer this. But is there anything we can hear about the hike? Was there a hike? That just seems like rumors right now.
You know what? Could we bring my daughter up here? Because she can go and say that, she came home from work after the hike, and she can verify that Gannon was at our home.
Okay. Yeah, that's fine with me. If she doesn't want to, that's okay, but you're allowed to.
That's fine.
Okay so far?
Yes. I need Harley. She can go and say that.
You just said that you can't say anything about the investigation, so you can just say so again if you can't answer this. But is there anything we can hear about the hike? Was there a hike? That just seems like rumors right now.
You know what? Could we bring my daughter up here? Because she can go and say that for all the things they said that I have done or people have done. I just want everyone to know that we're going to find Gannon, and I love him so much. I've helped taking care of him for so long.
She loved him so much. Past tense.
Can you talk to me a little bit about him? I don't know him.
Gannon is so kind, and he loves to play video games. That's one of his favorite things. He loves Sonic and Mario.
She caught herself. And then she corrected herself. You can almost tell the difference in the way that she emphasizes loves. You can almost tell. Let's listen out one more time, guys.
For all these theories that have came out online, for all the things they said that I have done or people have done. I just want everyone to know that we're going to find Gannon, and I love him so much. I've helped taking care of him for so long.
Can you talk to me a little bit about him? I don't know him.
Gannon is so kind, and he loves to play video games. That's one of his favorite things. He loves Sonic and Mario, and he's always helpful, and he was always so helpful with the dogs around the house, and we have 2 little cute dogs, and he was always like a person I could say, Gannon, can you go do this? And he would do it right away. Sometimes with kids we have to remind them and things like that, and that's okay. But he was so sweet and able to help anyone. He could notice when you're sick and say.
He was so sweet. He was so sweet. One more time, guys.
Sometimes with kids we have to remind them and things like that, and that's okay. But he was so sweet and able to help anyone.
He was so sweet.
He could notice when you're sick and say, "Are you okay?" And such a kind heart.
I know you just said that you can't say anything about the investigation, so you can just say so again if you can't answer this. But is there anything we can hear about the hike? Was there a hike? That just seems like rumors right now.
You know what? Could we bring my daughter up here? Because she can go and say that, she came home from work after the hike, and she can verify that Gannon was at our home.
Okay. Yeah, that's fine with me. If she doesn't want to, that's okay, but you're allowed to.
That's fine.
Okay so far?
Yes. I need Harley.
Okay, so before we get into how she leads Harley, we all know about that who are familiar with this interview. So I gotta say that I'm suspicious here that she she is probably right now very thrilled at the fact that at this time, before Gannon, before we knew that they found evidence that Gannon was murdered in the home, before we knew, before Gannon's body was discovered in Florida, here, knowing that now, not knowing this back then when we first talked about this, when we first went over this, knowing all these details now, right? I suspect that she is thrilled that everyone is barking up the wrong tree. Everyone thinks that something happened to Gannon on the hike. She right now thinks that she's got everyone's head up their own asses.
I need Hartley, because they want you to verify with Gannon at home after the hike. Because you didn't go to the hike, but you came home from work.
You see, okay, you see her tone of voice, how it changes? See the tone of voice, how it changes from how cordial, I can't even pronounce that word. Y'all know what I mean. And how she's speaking so eloquently for the interview. But as soon as she addresses Harley, that ghetto comes out, man. That ghetto lady comes out. That nasty motherfucker we see in the mug shots comes out when she talks to Harley.
Do you want me to say yes? No, just answer the question. Yes, you came off.
Do you want me to say? Do you want me to say? She already knows that. I mean, there's clearly already been leading. There's clearly already been conversation and coaching from Leticia to Harley. It's obvious right here.
For work, and you can verify Gannon was at home. Yeah.
And then she tells her what to say.
I told her she didn't have to be too in depth because she is still, a child. But I want to make sure that someone knows that there's another person to verify that Gannon.
That she is still a child. She wants to make that abundantly clear, because don't you dare, anybody who thinks they're going to put my daughter on the stand, or anybody who thinks that they're going to question my daughter and get her to talk, understand that she's still a child. So what she's saying isn't going to be credible. This is the message she's trying to put out, that whatever Harley says isn't going to be credible. And B, you're an asshole for putting a child through this. How dare you question this child? That's what she's building up to here. That's the message. That's the little seed that she's trying to plant right there, saying she's just a child.
Sure.
Does she need to hold this?
No.
Yes, so I came home later that evening. I was at work, and I can verify that he was there that night.
So there was a hike that you guys went on, but then you guys...
Yes.
Where'd you guys go hiking?
Garden of the Gods.
Okay. I guess when...
And then we ate Burger King afterwards, so,
There you go.
Yeah.
How's that relevant? Fuck does Burger King have to do with anything? Yeah, Bebop, I agree with you. I totally agree with you.
And it just was, I'm going to go to play at a friend's house. And then it was just, I'm off to go to play at a friend's house.
Unfortunately, I'm not able to comment on that anymore. And for that reason is because some things have been turned and twisted. And, that was one of those stories you were talking about where people say things. We had to hear things like who would let their child go out at dark and things like that. And that's just why I don't want to answer that. If I had to give, I'm not gonna say that part.
Okay.
Why don't you want to answer that? Hold on, let's hear that one more time.
You were talking about where people say things. We had to hear things like who would let their child go out at dark and things like that. And that's just why I don't want to answer that. if I had to give, I'm not gonna say that part.
That's okay.
Never mind.
Right.
I could take that out.
I understand that it gets tricky with
Yeah.
legal stuff.
Yeah. Because this dude works for her, so she's gonna tell him what he can edit out and what this lady is. She's something else, man.
Do you feel like I asked you what I need to? Do you feel like this is going to help kind of turn the tide of what feels like a witch hunt, in my opinion?
I hope. Am I on camera now?
You are still.
Okay. I think that a lot of people can see that I'm not missing and see that I am being cooperative. But to me, it's okay that they think those things, because the way someone thinks about me, I don't have a problem with that. My main thing is I would never want someone to think that I would hurt Gannon or any of the children in our home, because that's just not the case. I've spent my whole entire life working so hard in education. There was even things online that was talking about my education license and I shouldn't even be a teacher. And they just didn't know that. Like, we moved on a military move and I didn't finish out my contract, so I gave up my license in that state.
None of that means dick. None of that is relevant. None of it means anything when it comes to finding Gannon. None of it. All of it is me. All of it is they're saying this about me and they're saying that about me.
It had nothing to do with any criminal activity, or any of those things. And it just got blown out of proportion on my professional status, and
Do you feel like these are just internet detectives who think they know what they're doing?
it definitely is. And here's the thing that kind of saddens me. It's like, if you're going to talk about someone like that and have a witch hunt out for them, why would you even care, about doing those things? Because this is a child. You're telling me that you're just as mean, you're just as hateful to talk about someone else like that.
So when she just said that, was there anybody else who thought, what a piece of shit for saying that? This is a child. How dare you? How dare you talk about those things? This is a witch hunt. How dare you attack me and then use Gannon? It's completely, it makes no sense.
That's how I feel. Like, we should all come together and wait until the end and see what happens.
We should all come together. Hands across America. Hands across America. We should all come together. Oh, thanks, Bebop. That's really awesome. Thank you. I appreciate that. We should all be holding hands and come together for Gannon.
Happens because Gannon's going to come home.
Any message for Gannon?
The message for Gannon.
I love all the blue hearts, guys. And I'm going to tell you guys something real quick, man. This isn't over for me, man. This is part of the reason why I'm going over this now. Obviously, I told you guys that when there would be any developments regarding this case, that I would talk about them. The fact that she is being moved to the state hospital in Pueblo for an evaluation to see if she is competent to stand trial. That's a major development in this case, which is obviously what this entire live stream is about. But this case is not over for me at all, not even close. And I don't feel any different about it. And those lights at my job, those lights stay blue. I think actually somebody messed with them today and changed them, which pisses me off. But every single night, consistently, those lights outside my job have stayed blue.
Gannon I have is, Gannon, when you get here, you'll be able to truly tell what happened. And then I really hope I get a sincere apology from everyone who has made all those things, especially from my husband. We just wanted to happen. And then you're just as hateful to talk about someone else like that. That's how I feel. Like, we just should not. We should all come together and wait until the end and see what happens, because Gannon's going to come home.
Any message for Gannon?
The message for Gannon I have is, Gannon, when you get here, you'll be able to truly tell what happened. And then I really hope I get a sincere apology from everyone who has made.
That shit's infuriating to me. That shit makes me so mad. The fact that she just sat there, she was given an opportunity right here. And now, you know, knowing what we know today, you know, she's lying either way, right? We're all in agreement that she's lying anyway. But she didn't even try. She didn't even try to put on an act. She sat there. She was given an opportunity right here. Do you have a message for Gannon? Any worried parent would be sitting there saying, Gannon, if you hear this, if you're somewhere else, if you ran away, whatever, if you hear this, I don't know where you are. I don't know what's going on. Please come home. Everybody's worried about you. But instead, she says this.
We should all come together and wait until the end and see what happens, because Gannon's going to come home.
Any message for Gannon?
Instead, she says this.
The message for Gannon I have is, Gannon, when you get here, you'll be able to truly tell what happened. And then I really hope I get a sincere apology from everyone who has made all those things, especially from my husband. We just wanted to add a message to Gannon from my family.
And there goes the edited. Hey, can you guys? I wonder. I can only picture how this shit took place. Can you guys, like, I didn't cry. You guys didn't get me crying. Can you guys get me crying for Gannon?
We miss you, and we hope that you come home soon. Again, I can't wait till you can come home and let everyone know that you're okay. We love you.
All right, guys. Yeah, that pisses me off. Sorry about the dead air there, but that pisses me off to a level that I can't even describe. This woman that's just up here, just up there, as bold as she is, man, as bold as she is, no heart. That's not a crazy person. That's a bad person. That is a cold, messed up person. But it's not a crazy person. This is a person who knew exactly what she was doing. This is a person who knows what she's doing. She's not smart. I'm not going to give her that much credit. She's not, because she wasn't fooling anybody at any point whatsoever. I mean, that's just a fact. She wasn't fooling anybody. But yeah, Wicked Witch, I know, man. I know. I'm with you. But I feel it was necessary to discuss this, because this is again, I believe this is just another tactic, and we predicted this. We talked about this. All the other channels that have been covering this case have speculated that this was going to happen, that she was going to try to plead not guilty by reason of insanity, right? We talked about this. You know, this is a woman who is going to, we all agree that this is a woman who's going to try to do anything in her power to weasel out of answering for her crimes. Absolutely. Thank you, Dawn Marie. This is an awful, reprehensible person. And I mean, at the very least, she belongs in prison for assaulting that deputy. This is, I mean, she so does anybody here actually think that she has a chance of fooling the right people? Because that's another thing. We got to think about that. One of my favorite movies of all time, if not my favorite movie of all time, is One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. And the plot of that film is the main character, played by Jack Nicholson, Randall Patrick McMurphy. He, the whole point of that movie was this man was in jail for, as he put it, as near as I can figure, I fight and fuck too much. And so this is just the guy who just couldn't keep his shit together, you know? And he wasn't a hardened criminal. He just had a bad temper, and he liked sleeping with women. And supposedly he had slept with a 15-year-old girl who said she was 18. And that's why he was in jail. And so what he does is he comes up with this half-cocked plan to get transferred into a mental institution so that his remainder of his time is easier. He doesn't have to defend himself from hardened criminals in prison that he doesn't fit in with. He's not a tough guy. He's just a guy with a bad temper and bad, poor judgment, and he not making excuses for his actions. What I'm saying is, he wasn't a tough guy enough to do his time in prison. So he thought, oh, well, I'll just fool the system and then I'll get transferred into the funny farm and do the rest of my time there. Well, that's basically what she's trying to do here. But he did a kind of a decent job, more or less, of fooling those who he needed to be in this place, and pull off what he was trying to pull off. So my question here, does anybody think that she's going to be capable of actually fooling the right people? Because by the looks of this right here, I think that we all agree that she's not crazy. She knows what she did was wrong. She knew the consequences of her actions on top of it, and enough to lie about it, enough to put on an act, not very well, but enough to actually attempt to do so. So does anybody here believe that she is going to fool the right people, that she's going to pull out an ace that's up her sleeve when she's at this mental institution being evaluated? I don't think so. I think that she's intelligent, and I use that word very loosely. But I don't think that she's some sort of criminal mastermind at all. Like, she's no Ted Bundy, you know what I mean? And she's definitely no Son of Sam, right? Son of Sam pretty much fooled everybody. He just screwed with everybody because he could, right? And then later on, turned out that he was just an asshole that wanted to go around shooting people, The whole thing about the neighbor's dog telling him, to go around killing people because the dog was possessed by Satan, right? Later on, it's all revealed that was just some story. That's all it was, right? But she's not. Yeah, I don't think that I think that she lacks the intelligence that it takes to actually fool the people that are highly educated and do this for a living. Because I think, yo, uh, I I don't know if I would have rioted over George Floyd if things have gone differently. I don't know about that, but I'm still wondering if I'm asking myself here if I would riot when it came to Leticia Stauch if they end up finding her not guilty or incompetent to stand trial, or not guilty by reason of insanity. I can't. Yeah, that's gonna piss me off because I see right through this woman. You guys know me. When I'm sure about something, man, I'm sure. You know, and I see right through this woman. I see exactly what she's doing. Everything that I said here right now, everything that I said going over all of this, this entire video, based on everything that we know about this case to date. Well, yeah, that's gonna make me super hot. I don't want to be in a position to where I'm gonna get that mad. I mean, obviously, I'm not gonna know. I'm not gonna be able to do anything about it. I'm not gonna riot, but I'm saying, I feel like we're that's something that's gonna make me so mad because I'm gonna feel so helpless. I'm gonna feel so helpless that and I can't even think of the word that I'm gonna feel for Gannon and you know, I just, I mean, Gannon, 11 years old, man. He's a good kid. You know, he's a good kid. I mean, I didn't know him, but everything that we know about him indicates that he's a good kid. As much as we know about him, that indicates to us that he was a good kid. You know, we know enough about Leticia to know that she's a bad seed too, man. She's a bad person. She's not sick. There is no excuse for her actions. There's no excuse for her behavior. Everything that she's done leads up to her being just a blackened, fried soul. And just, Landon and Al, I can't imagine what they're going through right now. I mean, just keep that in mind too. Let's keep that in mind for a second. Let's think about Landon and Al right now. Having heard the news that she is being transferred to a state hospital where they're going to give her pills, they're going to give her 3 hot meals a day, a more comfortable bed than she's in right now. She's going to be around people who are not hardened criminals, just sick people. She's going to get to talk to a therapist. She's going to have someone there who's paid to listen to her complain and talk about herself. Can you imagine how Landon and Al feel about that right now? Can you imagine how infuriating that must be to them right now? How much of a nightmare this nightmare just doesn't end? It just keeps going and going and going for them. Their son's dead, and now there's the chance that the fact that they have the person in custody, they have enough evidence to prosecute her, that there's a chance that she'll get to walk around in pajamas all day and draw pictures, right? Watch movies. Some of these places have pool tables, you know? I mean, are you kidding me with that? Are you kidding me with that? I can't even imagine what how Landon and Al feel right now, that this just nightmare of losing their son just doesn't end. They there's no way right now for them to move past this. No closure at all. I don't know, man. Yeah, Tracy L., I hope you're right. I hope you're right. I hope that the shrinks, you know. And the problem is, man, you know, you also got to keep into consideration, none of these people, you know, there's a slight chance, but the truth is, chances are that none of these people, you know, it's just another day at work for them. None of these people are as invested in justice for Gannon the way that we are here. None of them are. They just sit there and they take their notes and they're looking at the clock, waiting to go home. Right? That's what they're doing. They're just looking at the clock, waiting to go home. I mean, none of these people are emotionally invested in finding justice for Gannon. Hopefully, maybe somebody will be. Hopefully, maybe somebody there was following the case. You know, hopefully somebody who hasn't been following the case looks over her file and goes, what? You know, and then decides, hopefully. So, I don't know, man. So before I go, all right, that's all I got as far as this. I don't even like saying her name, but Leticia Stauch. It's just as much as it's all I got on that. It's as much as I want to talk about her right now, and I'll explain. Part of that has to do with the day that I had. You know, you guys know I work at a fitness club, dude. Saturdays. It's my last day of the week and I'm tired, and all of a sudden, for some reason, everything happens. You remember in the movie The Departed, one of my favorite lines in that movie is you know, DiCaprio has to go see this psychiatrist, right? And he goes in there and he sees the psychiatrist, and the psychiatrist he has this whole thing, and he's honest with her, and he's like, I just want pills, you know, I can't sleep, it sucks. And then, you know, he yells at her, you're not going to give me pills. Somebody comes to you with an honest, you know, they're honest with you, and you turn them away to go score smack on the street. Like, what's wrong with you, right? And then he gets up and he walks out of the psychiatrist's office yelling, and they have words. And then she kind of chases him down and walks him outside, you know, or catches up with him outside. And then she says, why is the last patient of the day always the hardest? And his response is beautiful. His response is, it's because you're tired and you don't give a shit. It's not supernatural. which which I love. Very, very simple, and it makes perfect sense. But the thing is, you know, a lot of that has to do with my Saturdays. The next 2 days I have off. Sundays and Monday I have off, and I'm beat. You know, I'm tired. I'm ready for the week to be over. But at the same time, stuff happens that doesn't happen the rest of the week. For example, today, I had just clocked in. And I'm there, and I decide, you know what? I'm gonna work the door, and I'm gonna check people's temperature. And I got to check people's temperature. I got to ask them if they've been around with anybody with COVID. I got to ask them if they felt any symptoms. I got to ask them if they've been told to quarantine by the health department. Anybody who's coming to the gym, they're not going to say, yeah, somebody did tell me to, you know, or yeah, I've been feeling pretty sick. Nobody's going to do that. But I have to ask each and every person that walks in that door, and I got to take their temperature with the little temperature gun against their forehead. That's probably not even accurate, but I got to do that anyway, right? So I start to do that, and the person that I relieved, she's in her car driving away, and she says to me, she comes out, she says, hey man, there's a fight breaking out up on the hill over here, right across the parking lot, straight ahead from the front doors, right across the parking lot. There's this hill, and you know, it's been like borderline 100 degrees for the past week here. It's really, really hot. And there have been these homeless guys that have kind of set up camp, you know, more or less, not like a tent or anything, but a blanket. And, you know, they look like they're having a little picnic. That's why I don't bother them. I don't kick them out of there. I'm like, it's fine. You know, I've actually been there myself in my youth. I know what it's like to not have anywhere to go, and then have people tell you, hey, you can't be here. You got to get out of here. And you have no choice but to walk around aimlessly because you have nowhere to go, nothing to do. And so I felt for these homeless guys that were, you know, and you know, probably meth heads, whatever. None of my business. But they're not sitting on the hill smoking meth. So I don't care. You know, they're up there kind of minding their own business. They were up there since yesterday on a blanket, and there's shade under this very large tree. And it was fine. But today, some guy comes and starts harassing these homeless guys. I'm guessing he was homeless too. He didn't have a shirt on. I'm guessing he was under the influence of something, more than likely meth. The only thing that I've even seen even compared to it is somebody on PCP, but I only saw that in California. I've never seen anybody on PCP on anywhere other than California. But this guy was just harassing them, and they were trying to, you know, the older guy had a walking stick, and he was trying to like get, you know, wean him away, you know, like get him away. So I call the cops and I say, hey, there's a guy, he's got no shirt on, he's got camouflage pants, and you know, I want to make it clear he's the aggressor. There's these two guys, they're also homeless, but I want you to know they're not causing any problems. I don't want you to necessarily run them off. If they're breaking the law and you catch them breaking the law, whatever, but I'm not calling you to report them. I was actually very clear about this. I was very adamant about this. I was like, I don't want you to run these guys off necessarily, but somebody's probably going to get hurt. So I need somebody to come out, please, and resolve this situation. And they're like, okay. They asked for the address, blah, 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 blah. And then it takes like an hour. And then some other homeless guy comes up to the club, and we're like, what's this guy want now? And he comes up and he says, hey man, this guy up there, man, he's hurt. Like somebody, like this guy was up there and he was doing, I was like, yeah, I saw the guy doing that and everything. And I was like, he actually hurt somebody. And he's like, yeah, I think this guy's arm's broken. So I called the cops again because the cops had yet to show up. And I say, I think you need to send EMS as well because somebody got hurt. And I had to say it. I had to say it because I was pissed off. And I was like, I got to tell you guys, I called you guys an hour ago. And if somebody had come when I asked you to come, because I called you with the purpose of trying to avoid someone getting hurt, and now someone got hurt, this could have been avoided. I called you guys for the purpose of avoiding someone getting hurt, and the person got hurt anyway. And I get up there. So I get up there. The cops still take forever. But this time I'm up there. I go to look at the guy, see if he's okay. He's saying, yeah, I'm fine. But I'm looking at his arm, and his arm is bleeding. And he's got a bone not coming out of the skin, but it's sticking out. His arm's broken, clearly. And I was, I felt so bad. I went back. I got a bottle of water. I brought him a bottle of water. And I decided to stay with him to wait for the EMS truck to show up. The guy that was the perpetrator, the guy that hurt him, wasn't even trying to hide. He was just walking down the near street aimlessly, swinging tree branches. People had enough sense to avoid him. But I mean, I watched this guy harass these people. I mean, it looked like bum fights. Those old videos of bum fights? That's what it looked like. But these guys were minding their own business, and he kept trying to take their stuff. He at one point grabbed their blanket and tried to take off with the blanket. And then another guy who was like just random. It was the weirdest situation, guys. He had a golf club and he was like practicing his swing, like just like a few feet over, which I don't ask me, man. I don't know what the hell is going on there, and he had a dog with him. And at some point, the guy with the golf club at least like chased the guy off. Right. And so we're just watching this going, dude, where are the cops? And so once the cops finally showed up, the cops showed up before the EMS showed up. And when the cops show up, I'm like, yeah, the guy, you can't miss him. He's got no shirt on and he's got camouflage pants on, and he's around this area because he refuses to leave the area for whatever reason. And yeah, I'm thinking meth too. Bang, bang. I even told the operator, I was like, hey man, can you guys hurry up? It's too hot for meth heads, man. I can't do it, dude. It's too fucking hot for meth heads today, man. Please. Yeah. So the cops show up, and then they find the guy, but it took me having to go all the way to where they found the guy, and he was laying up against the dumpster, like just chilling. And they thought he was the victim because he was just relaxing and chilling. And I was like, no, you need to put that dude in handcuffs right now. That guy just attacked this other guy. You need to put him in handcuffs. And the cops were like, oh, okay, stand up, blah, 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 put your hands behind your back, and whatever. So now I'll probably get a subpoena to testify because they took all my information. The poor homeless guy, I was talking to him when I was waiting for the EMS to arrive for him, because I didn't want to leave him alone in case he was attacked again or whatever. I asked him, where are you from? Blah, blah, blah. The guy had one eye. He didn't even have a glass eye or a patch. He had nothing in his eye socket at all. At first, I thought the guy took his eye out, but he would have been bleeding or whatever. And he says, no, I lost that in Vietnam. So this old man was a veteran. And you know, that made me so mad. And you know, but his arm, and he wasn't even complaining. He was like, yeah, you know, he got me, you know, but and then when the EMS showed up, they were gonna take him to the hospital, and I felt so bad, man. They go to they you know, they're like, all right, well, we're gonna put a sling on you, you know, and they go to put like this makeshift sling. They took like this thick bandage, whatever. They didn't have slings in there. And when they go to move his arm, and I've had plenty of broken bones, guys. I did a live stream where I was telling you about all the times I broke my bones. I know exactly what a broken bone feels like. And it was crazy. When they go to move his arm to put it in the sling that they made for him, you know, they just moved it slightly, and he goes, ah, you know, and I swear I felt it here, man. Right here, and I felt that pain, of that broken bone pain, man. I just felt it when he you know, exclaimed the way that he did. And I felt so bad for him, but he refused to go to the hospital. And the EMS guys were like, yeah, this happens a lot, actually. People refuse to go to the hospital, but the next day it hurts so bad that he's going to go. And ironically, almost every time I broke my bones, I never went to the hospital immediately. But it was because I was wasted drunk. And then I went home, passed out, and I wake up the next day and go, okay, yeah, I think I need to go to the hospital, you know? But yeah, that was the case with this guy, man. And I hope that's the case. I hope tomorrow he decides to go to the hospital and put a cast on that thing, because you can't. That's not going to cut it, man. Not for what he had going on there. Yeah. And so the whole day that was just bugging me. So yeah, the rest of the day was actually pretty chill aside from that, but it was enough to ruin my day. On top of finding out the news from Mignon, who actually sent me the article that Leticia was being transferred to a state hospital for evaluation. So yeah, both of those things were enough to ruin my day. So I'm gonna find a movie to watch, guys. I'm gonna relax, and a couple other good things happened today, which I won't go into, but I had a couple other nice things happen today. Yeah. Anyways, guys, I really appreciate you, and anything that happens with Leticia moving forward, you guys know I'm going to talk about it. And there's other channels that are covering this case definitely more efficiently than I ever could. So make sure to subscribe to them. And in other cases too, make sure, if you guys aren't subscribed to my man John Crimes, make sure you subscribe to John Crimes. He's a great guy, and he's always speaking from the heart. So big shout out to John Crimes. But anyways, guys, I love you, and we will do this again very soon, my friends.